The chapter begins with Queen Alicia telling Lloyd that she heard about his deeds from Count 𝐄𝐬𝐭, and that for that Lloyd has the appreciation for the courage and selflessness that he displayed. However, this judge a man largely based another's recommendation. I trust only what I have seen for myself, says the Queen, just as I expected, says Lloyd. Queen Alicia wants to put Lloyd's skills to the test. THS is it, atop, the highest roller, no less than the chance to win a contract with Her Majesty. Thinks Lloyd. The Queen begins by asking Lloyd that given the current state of the kingdom, what construction project does he think is urgently needed in the royal capital of Magenta? Lloyd is surprised by the Queen's question, the most urgent construction project the kingdom needs. Of course I know this. I know the entire plot of the book. Lloyd thinks while he gives a subtle smile. In her mind, the Queen thinks that if Lloyd is really a capable man, he would have noticed from the moment he saw the royal palace. If Lloyd is not capable of this, then the Queen will not recognize Lloyd. The most urgent construction project in Magenta is repairing this crumbling palace. The Queen thinks. Although Lloyd knows the answer the Queen wants to hear, he says that the most urgent construction project the royal capital needs is a new bridge that crosses the river that runs through the capital. The Queen looks down at Lloyd, dissatisfied with his answer. She cannot be completely satisfied with my response. It wasn't the answer she expected, but with her personality, the test won't end here. Lloyd says to himself, while briefly explaining that she is the one with the highest authority as well as absolute power. She is tolerant, fair, just, and listens to all regardless of class or rank, referring to the Queen. Queen Alicia asks Lloyd why he believes a new bridge is most urgent for the kingdom right now. Lloyd begins, others may think differently, and say that repairing the royal palace is the most urgent right now. The Queen twitches with her eye. Lloyd explains how he knows that a long time ago, a badly tempered dragon took off with the palace's tower on 2 separate occasions, and that to prevent this from happening a 3rd time, the entire structure of the palace was widened and flattened into its current shape. The Magenta castle we see today was built in this waiting manner, on the fears that the whole structure could be lifted up. And so, I believe that the weight of the structure pressing down on the ground and its pillars is causing it to slowly crumble. However, the repairs would only be necessary at a much later date. Therefore, I came to the conclusion that it cannot be seen as urgent. Lloyd continues, explaining to the Queen the reason for his choice of answer. Queen Alicia looks down at Lloyd without making any gesture. What a reckless man. He knew what I was thinking, yet he gives me a different answer. Thinks the Queen. I know that she knows that I gave her a different answer, even though I knew the answer she was thinking of, says Lloyd with a smile, trembling on his face. The Queen continues in her mind. I see that he knows that I know, that he gave a different answer, even though he knew the answer I was thinking of. Now, Lloyd, I know that she knows that I know that she knows that I gave her a different answer, even though he knew the answer I was thinking of. A notification from the system is fed up with this nonsense. Are you toying with me? Is that it? The Queen thinks with an extremely irritated face and ready to make Lloyd into porridge. I would never. I begin. For contract. Construction fees. Lloyd says to himself while trying to portray the presence of a gentle puppy in front of the Queen. Lloyd explains to the Queen that the current state of the bridge that crosses the Magenta River has already been rebuilt 12 times. The bridge regularly collapses because it cannot withstand the rising waters of the spring season. Every time this happens, people's lives are affected and large amounts of money are spent. Everyone sees the reconstruction of the bridge as an inevitable part of nature. Lloyd tells the Queen that if she will trust him, he will build a bridge that will not collapse, even if there's spring floods or dirt ice. Lloyd talks about a modern suspension bridge. He even criticizes my decisions. Why this arrogant and insolent man? The Queen wonders. Javier looks at Lloyd suspiciously out of the corner of his eye as they stand with their heads bowed in front of the Queen. She thinks about what she should do in this situation because the more she talks to Lloyd, the more she starts to like him. She orders Lloyd to tell her more about this bridge that he will build. Lloyd is ecstatic because she knew the Queen would like his idea. The Queen absolutely despises yes-men who drown her in flattery, and she puts unlimited trust in those with strong convictions. Lloyd begins to tell her about what a suspension bridge is, going into technical details that are hard for the Queen to understand, which is why she orders him to stop because he has lost interest. This in our Queen Magentano. But she's eventually betrayed by the one she cherished, lost one of her arms, and turns evil, transforming into the 𝐵𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐴 tyrant. But that story is 3 years into the future. Right now, she's an honorable queen who listens even to the lowly, The Queen asks Lloyd what his punishment should be if the bridge collapses. Lloyd tells himself that he will pack up all his things and flee the country. However, the answer he gives the Queen is that he will offer his head if the bridge collapses. In exchange, while that bridge stands, please guarantee my family station. Lloyd asks the Queen as a reward. Queen Alicia is surprised because Lloyd finally made her smile. You may carry out your plans. I promise you reasonable compensation and upholding of your family station. Orders the Queen. At these words, Lloyd puts his hand in his coat. From it, he takes out a contract, which he asks the Queen to sign. Now the Queen's face is angry because she believes that Lloyd does not trust her words. He prepared a contract. Why this little? The Queen says to herself, waiting for Lloyd's answer. He explains that this contract specifies that if the bridge is not built in an honest manner, then the result will be that Lloyd will be hung, drawn, and quartered. Consider this a necessary shackle for such an untrustworthy and lowly man as Missiles. Your Highness, says Lloyd to the Queen. The Queen signs the contract brought by Lloyd while saying to herself that it's strange that she's sweet-talked into something. Yet she don't mind it. 1,000 thanks, Your Majesty, says Lloyd to the Queen while raising his ass to the sky, trying to appear humble in front of the Queen, who immediately orders him to return with his ass to the ground because she doesn't want to see him. Lloyd and Javier leave the Queen victoriously. Accompanied by a butler, Lloyd puts one foot in front of the other and starts spinning with joy. He says to Javier, "Did you see that? This guy right here just ripped off the Queen. With this contract," Javier replies, "You could have lost your head if she thought you were being disrespectful. I cannot stop a sword master, so please exercise caution." Back in the Queen's room, the Queen's right-hand man, Sir Kyle, tells her that Lloyd is a clever man, very calculating. You notice it as well? He is more shrewd than I had thought. The Queen replies. Sir Kyle asks if she didn't dislike Lloyd's behavior. The Queen says that she disliked Lloyd's behavior because he assumed from the beginning that he could defeat the Queen with words. Yet he looked so pathetic that he was rather adorable. A few days later, Lloyd takes a backpack full of things on his back. Javier asks him if he really wants to go alone. Why would I need an escort in the capital with all its security? Besides, it's a huge pain walking around with you. Earlier when we went out to survey, I couldn't concentrate at all because of you. Lloyd replies to Javier. The knight tells Lloyd to tell Master Julian that he's doing well. Julian Frontura is Lloyd's little brother who is studying at the Royal Academy. Before the two leave for the capital, the Baroness has prepared heaps of winter clothes and blankets, things she has asked Lloyd to take to his brother. Lloyd tries to remember what happened to Julian in the book. It's around time that the Baron loses everything and is unable to pay the tuition, so he is kicked out of the dorms. And then he dies, wandering around at night, killed by a thief. However, these things will not happen because Lloyd is quite good at saving lives. It's time for Lloyd to visit his brother, who doesn't even know exactly what he looks like.